it's a very inspirational story, not just the founders creating an organization like this, but somebody like you today, you've moved to the board of the organization, and you are a trustee in the organization.
Yeah.
So what's your story, Moses? So how did it
Yeah.
all begin? And therefore, your personal story is something that can be interesting for our audience.
Absolutely. I acquired vision impairment by birth.
Mhm.
And so obviously, like any other family, so family turned to every church and every place that they could get to, um, for making sure that I get the help. Went to hospitals, but I think it's a combo offer that I have. It's a glaucoma and cornea dystrophy,
Mhm.
and three surgeries. Anyway, to cut the long story, that I was diagnosed with cornea dystrophy and glaucoma, and the doctor said, "You all that you can do is to retain your vision, little vision that you have in your left. I don't have any vision in my right eye. That's the condition." When I was growing up, one of the things that made my one of the impressions on my mind very early on is about reading.
Mhm.
Like many millions of Indians, I'm also a great fan of cricket. And those days, we at my home did not have a television. So the
Mhm.
only source of information, I mean, I did not even access to radio.
Mhm.
Only source of information was newspaper.
Mhm.
When the newspaper comes to home in the morning, I almost used to run to catch it
Mhm.
from the delivery boy's hand and
Okay.
run to my mother, say that please read the newspaper to me.
Mhm.
She used to look at me and said, "Well, I'll read newspaper for you, no problem. But do you want me to cook or read newspaper?"
Mm.
And as a hungry child, I don't think I could ever tell her, okay, read newspaper. I always wanted to tell her, read newspaper, but I always told her, no, cook. Um, so that used to frustrate me because I used to go to school. Once I come back from the school after studies, once my mother is done with her housework, is when she used to read me newspaper. What
Mhm.
we used to be on my mind at that time was, why am I reading the outdated paper? Because already, if I am following a test match, obviously even the next day play would have been over.
Mm.
I'm actually reading the previous day's newspaper. Um, and to add to that, as a kid, growing up, my sister happens to be a sighted, and she used to read the moment paper comes, she used to read her movie news that she wants to see. So that
Mm.
used to irritate me much further. Like, why not me? Why she's able to read? I'm not able to read.
Mm.
Of course, today I'm able to say this with fun, but that used to weigh me down.
Mm.
The frustration of not able to do something when I want. So to cut the long story, so I finished my 10th standard, went to I grew up in Vijayawada, so went to Andhra Lala College, took up HEC, history, economic, civics background, and stood first in the state first in the general category, not in the visually impaired or anything or persons
Mm.
with disability. Then took up BA in English literature, and this all happening with friends and families' help, reading out and all that. Went to do masters in one of the prestigious central universities in Hyderabad,
Mm.
and that's where I had a tipping point, the turning point,
Mhm.
because we were asked to read Vikram Seth's Suitable Boy.
Okay.
And it's a very bulky book. I mean, it's very good, but very, very, very bulky book. And we used to use this book to kill mosquitoes in the hostel room. Very
Mm.
effective. Um, Nobody could read that to me. Not because friends did not want to help me. Humanly impossible for somebody to read it out in a short span, right? So I couldn't go to class, Swami. So that's when and that hit me very hard, saying that, what am I doing? Why am I not able to do things when I want to do things? And I was living on a 1,000+ acres campus.
Mhm.
I had all access to all amenities that one can ask for, but never able to use any of those facilities because all that I was doing was aligning my schedule to my friend's schedule so that I can have somebody to read out books to me.
Mhm.
So that, you know, really, I was almost reaching a borderline of the depression, saying that, why am I not able to do?
mm,
And I called up one of my cousins who happens to be in Bangalore at that time, working as a software engineer, and said, I heard this that the people with vision impairment can work on computer. Where can I learn?
mm,
And then he found Enable India. During my first year vacation of my master's, I came to Enable India, learned computers, and I think that has changed my life because I say computers are eyes for blind.
mm,
Because what I couldn't do in a paper environment, and today being in a paperless office environment, I'm able to do things. I do my financial management, investments. I do my travel. So my wife and I are raising 1 year child. So she's a sighted, but I take equally keen in ordering things on online, doing things so that I don't become a burden on on spouse, right? Because otherwise,
mm.
if she has to do everything, it will be perceived as a burden, right? So I
Correct,
mean,
correct.
because if it is a relationship, it has to be equal
Mm,
relationship, and I'm as much as responsible like her for to raise my child. So I really take pride in doing things independently, taking part in social gathering, to doing my booking my own travel, doing things, financial investments. All that is possible because of learning computers, and that's how I landed up at Enable India. And one conversation that I overheard at Enable India hooked me into the culture, saying that this is the place I want to work.
mhm,
So when I went there to learn computers, I was overhearing this conversation between an employment officer and a candidate with vision impairment. And this candidate with vision impairment was saying, I have an offer from one small company, and I'm also expecting another offer from an MNC. Once both those that offer also get released, I will take a decision on which company I will join.
mm,
And this contrasting to my own life, where I was always hearing that music is only option for persons with vision impairment,
mm,
hit me like a boulder, saying,
mm,
what? Here are people talking about choices.
mm,
And I think this is the place that I want to be in.
mm,
So I went back and did my master's, and then eventually I wrote a mail to Shanti, the founder of Enable India, saying that I want to work, and I
mm,
explained why I want to work for the sector, and that's how I landed as an intern at Enable India. It's been 14 years, incredible journey. I did multiple things. I used to teach English for visually impaired, then taught computers for blind, and then worked on employment and open up jobs. I actually built something called CM Million, a campaign that I spoke about earlier in
mhm.
the space of vision impairment. Then now working as executive director, taking care of urban livelihood mission. I really couldn't have asked better than this. It's an incredible journey.
Inspirational.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing story, Moses. I think really, a story that can inspire many.